Welcome to Neurotic News, the first one ever, with Dan Rath. Hello, Dan.
Hi.
Good. No, it's good. I'll take that. I'm going to read out the headlines that we're covering from the news this week. These are headlines that we dug up and we discussed throughout the podcast. The headlines that we thought were particularly funny or absurd. McDonald's in China apologizes for banning black people. Wet markets in Wuhan reopen. Crayfish sold. Ebola cases appear in Africa during coronavirus. Super spreader. Backpackers are the new immigrants Australia hates. That's a headline that encompasses a lot of stuff on backpackers that we've been reading. We made up that headline. But it's funny. And the NRL's push to come back sooner. That's it, isn't it?
That's it,
all the
yeah.
headlines. So let's
That's all.
start with McDonald's in China apologizes for banning black people, since that's probably the fucking craziest. McDonald's in China apologizes for banning black people. I love that. I love that, the idea of that headline. Like, that was coronavirus related, apparently, according to the article.
Oh, yeah. Well, I thought it was just, it would be weird if it wasn't, if it was just a separate thing.
Yeah.
Like just during a pandemic, or just to have like a bit of racism on the side that was separate.
To slip the racism under the radar.
Yeah, in the same way, it's sort of a good time to just, kill someone or do some other crime that's not related to coronavirus, like, because it's confusing.
Interestingly, Louis C.K. released his special during this. I think that's really interesting because I think it's like the most low-key media-wise.
Yeah. You're saying it's like, it's hard to get newspaper space on that when this is happening.
Right. I just
Like,
think it's what I was saying about social justice, identity politics, and like leftist, inner city left stuff has all shifted. Because now there's an actual crisis. Like, you'll notice that, like, it's all about capitalism and the redistribution of wealth and stuff, so society can keep going. It's about protecting workers. It's about workers who are on the front line getting paid. It's about rent and how people shouldn't have to pay rent. And it's like, it's all refocused.
Yeah, it's become like, because it was all about gender and race and stuff mostly, and now it's also class as well.
It seems more traditional stuff now.
Yeah, it's more like classism is a crime.
Like, what I find interesting about McDonald's in China apologizes for banning black people. It's just pure racism.
Yeah.
You don't see that kind of racism much, like, from a global corporation or something, like on the public facing side of things, where it's just like, it is straight out, really blatant. It's not a faux pas or an accidental slip of the tongue or something that could be deemed as debatable. Is it racist? Isn't it? It's just flat out, black people carry the coronavirus. They're not allowed into the restaurant.
Yeah. It's just, it's like getting in a time machine and going back 40 years or something.
Yeah. It's old school racism.
Yeah. Also, they did tie it into the whole thing. They did tie it.
Yeah. It was the note was really hard to read, but it was like, sorry to inform, but black people are banned for now, to do with medical reasons and isolation.
And
yeah,
they're banned from. They can still get delivery, but they can't come into the store, kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess the insinuation is they're carrying the virus. That's what I mean by the old school racism.
Yeah. That's yeah. That's yeah, I just because you think that McDonald's is a unified company that has a unified front,
Mm.
Like you ring up the CEO of Macca's and he's like, yeah, I control all the Maccas in the world.
Yeah. It's hard to imagine this directive coming from America, I don't think.
Yeah, not during all this.
No. Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, let's roll it out in an obscure Chinese branch
oh,
to see how it goes.
yeah, we'll do a
And we can
sample.
start doing it around the world, banning black people from McDonald's. Finally.
Yeah, we'll use the crisis. It's disaster capitalism.
Disaster
You use
capitalism.
disaster to enact your own long held desires.
Yeah. There's a bit of that going on. Um, yeah, in on top of that, continuing with that idea, also I like what it's done to the left. It's
Because
kind
it's
of
really
reset progressive politics to important issues.
mm,
And one of those things that has come out of this, and I mean, I don't know what news you've read about this, is this whole
yeah,
anti-celebrity stance.
yeah. It's sort of annoying when you see like a backlash against Ellen or something, and you're like, I didn't like her before this.
Right. Well, that's
You're
what I'm
like,
saying, is that like anyone who's progressive should fucking hate celebrities because they're coat hangers basically for consumerism. Like they're
mm,
massive consumers, they have massive carbon footprints. They promote like an absurd lifestyle and body image issues and all these horrible things. And they're idolized for stuff that isn't really essential. And they're incredibly rich. So they're
yeah,
like everything that we should despise. But it's taken this crisis for progressive people to sort of go, oh, fuck yeah, no, they are bad. Shut up. You're isolating in your mansion. Who cares?
yeah. It's I guess because like everyone has the same experience now of being at home, you can see how it can be vastly different.
It's definitely taken celebrities by surprise.
Oh, it must
Like,
be a real
but
shock.
Madonna posted, this is old news now, but Madonna, there was that, Imagine song where the celebrity Gal Gadot, whatever her name is, got all these celebrities to sing Imagine. And then there was Madonna did one where she was in a bath of milk and
Yeah.
roses and tried to be poetic. And
How did
everyone
that
just fucking destroyed her.
really? Madonna as well.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone's
So
just
they're just,
destroying celebrities. And Ellen even just did her broadcast or whatever from her, fucking mansion. And in the
yeah,
broadcast, they're doing all the broadcasts now from
yeah,
home, or like it's weird. In the broadcast of her show at home, she said, oh, it's like a prison here. And people
yeah.
went nuts. How dare you say your mansion,
Is a
you know?
prison.
Mm,
Oh, like imagine that. Like if someone was like, you can be quarantined in Ellen's mansion for 2 years, you wouldn't need to leave the house
exactly.
because you could have all your friends in different houses on the property.
Yeah.
So you could just. It's not really quarantine if you live on a community.
No,
If your
no,
house is a community.
no. I think that that's what people's problems with it is. And
Yeah,
keeping on that um, train of thought, I want to move to the next headline. Uh, Wet markets reopen in Wuhan
yeah,
is a big headline at the moment. And I like the one from the uh, Townsville Times, which is wet markets in Wuhan reopen, crayfish sold.
Is that all they're selling, crayfish, or like is it just going to start off slow and then get back to like penguins and sort of like dinosaur type animals that
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy that they're reopened, but this was what I was trying to attach to the previous headline article about the black people being banned, which is, fucking crazy. But you can't tell me that previously, with identity politics and stuff, before this crisis, that you wouldn't be called racist if you said that the wet markets in China are dangerous. Don't you think?
Yeah, you would have been, because it's culinary shaming.
Yeah.
It's like going, oh, you don't eat like a rabbit's foot. You don't do that.
You eat
Like, it's like,
normal food.
yeah, it's like I like a rabbit foot is what I'm keen to eat, a reptile with a headache
Yeah.
or whatever. Eating a sick animal, because the animal has to be sick and shit to spread it. Like, so it means there's like an animal coughing. Like, I didn't even know dogs could get the flu until recently. Like, I've never seen a dog with a head cold, or, you know what I mean?
A reptile with a headache. Someone must have ate a bat with a headache
Yeah, that
at some
bat was
point.
going, fuck.
Yeah, the bat was like, oh, I'm not feeling well. And then it got eaten. I mean, it's a horrible day for the bat.
Either that or the bat was sick as hell, just real sick, like with the flu, hanging in a tree, eating a peach or something that's rotting, and then it just shit out of its sick ass onto like another sick animal, and then that animal like rooted a pangolin or whatever,
Mm.
and it's just all this dirty stuff, and then it's all like in the same cage, all mixing around in a petri dish.
And then someone comes up and buys it, and that's his citizen zero or whatever, patient zero.
Patient zero is just like, whoa, I did not know this would happen today. I'd just love to see what his day was like before he ate that thing. Like,
Well,
what part of him would have been like, I wonder if this will start a global pandemic dinner.
I definitely don't think he was like, oh, is this the one that starts the global pandemic? But I mean, it's not the first global. Well, the other pandemics that have been created from wet markets didn't go global, did they?
Well, SARS was like, that was sort of, I remember at the time, was sort of a joke, pretty much. Like in the West, it was like oh, I've got a can of SARS. Like, they're all named after drinks, Corona, SARS, like all that. They're all like funny. It's like, I've got
Yeah.
a SARS. Oh, it's my favorite drink.
Yeah, there was a lot of jokes in comedy clubs and crap about SARS. I think there'll be less so about Corona.
Yeah. I mean, up until a month ago, you could dance around with that.
Yeah, when the global economy shut down and people started dying by the tens of thousands, it was like the get us a Corona, mate. It's like,
Yeah, I'll
yeah,
bring the Coronas.
nah, mate.
Yeah, yeah. Once you started seeing tradies with surgical masks, it was like, nah, it's not funny anymore, is it? I think that's when it changed from Corona to COVID-19, because COVID-19 was not a term that was bandied about 6 weeks ago.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. I think once you see tradies in high vis wearing a mask, you know it's serious because you know how much shit they're going to cop at the work site
Right.
for being a pussy.
Yeah. Like, that's 2 years of going, remember you had your surgical mask? You fucking, you coward? Is it because you're a coward? Like, and then he's like, no, it's because it's a fucking, do you know what I mean? Like,
It's huge. It's huge. Once I saw like a stop go guy and he had the
yeah.
mask, I was like, we're fucked.
He had a boating, camping, fishing decal on it.
Yeah, I love that. The BCF. Boating,
Yeah.
camping, fishing.
On
Or
the
the
mask.
Aussie, the Southern Cross or the Australian flag.
That'll be the new normal next year during flu season.
That's interesting.
There'll be little things on your mask
You
to
think
show
people will
that.
take the flu way more seriously in Australia and Western countries now?
Oh, yeah, like from now on. I remember like people would be fucking coughing and sneezing. I didn't even care, you know?
Yeah. Well, you never considered the flu serious, did you?
No. And yeah,
Shame
and
on
yeah.
you.
I thought you could cure it with a like a hot lemongrass tea.
Yeah. Not this
Like,
one.
no.
One of the things in the wet market article, right, is like, because I was kind of interested in what they're doing differently this time. And they're
Yeah.
trying to, they're like testing people as for their temperature as they enter the market. But I'm
Yeah.
like, that's not the problem. Isn't people with the disease shopping at the market? The problem is the market creates respiratory pandemics.
Yeah, it's not, it's, you don't want to monitor the side effects of the problem where, you know.
No, it's like walking into Fukushima, and before you go in, they're like, whoa, whoa, wait, have you got any radiation? Oh no,
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
don't. In you go.
Into the radiation, go
Into
into
the
the radiation.
radiation. We just want to check that you
Yeah.
didn't have any radiation going in, but go into the furnace.
Now that you don't have any radiation, go right into the radiation. Get radiated. Get radiated. Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah, I wonder if you could, how like, what are the like, say if you close all the wet markets, can you still get a pandemic? Like, have there been any pandemics that have just started from like not mucking around with like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to muck around with a wild animal to start one, or
There's two the big question is this that I want to get to, right? Is like, this is the more like the political question. Should you be allowed, should you ban cultural practices? Say wet markets are culturally significant to them. My understanding is it's not that popular. It's actually quite, according to something I read, it's the minority of Chinese people that really enjoy these like
I thought it,
exotic wild animals. So should
I
you
thought it
shut
was,
down a cultural experience, something of cultural significance if it's at risk of a global pandemic?
yeah.
Because the
Well, if
World
there was,
Health Organization is siding with China in saying that the wet markets should continue, but should be like better, cleaner, and better sanitation. And
but it's like if you were like, oh, in my culture, kids are allowed to play around in nuclear reactors, and that's just what they do. And they muck around in the control room and like they press buttons, but it's very like only very small chance that they'll press the right number of buttons in a row to set it off. And you'd be like, yeah, we got to stop that because yeah, it's risky. Like, do you know what I mean? You've got to be like,
is
we can't do.
that how you? So I take it you're not a fan. So, well, there's okay. Like taking it further, I remember seeing, this is a long time ago, an article that said there's this tradition it's Danish, I think, Swedish. It's definitely a Nordic thing where dolphins come to shore and people bash them to death.
Yeah,
Have you ever seen something like that? It's like they bash these dolphins and there was outcry. Like that's another example. It's like, where does culture
yeah,
stop for the greater good of the economy, health, or like the environment, you know?
yeah. I think you've got to stop it.
So you think that culture should be intruded upon
If
if
it's like, if it can cause an apocalypse, yeah.
mm,
Not if it can just f your own country up. Like if there was like a country where they just let kids play with like landmines. Actually, there is, but yeah, like if it's funny when your hypothetical is real,
yeah,
but
I
yeah,
don't think they let them play with them. I think
no, it just
that
happens.
landmines exist and then
Yeah,
sometimes people die.
and I'm against it, and I think they should shut it down if they can. But yeah, but like yeah, but yeah, I think like if the behavior of a country can cause an apocalypse, it should be stopped.
Right.
Don't you reckon? Like, just it should be
Yeah,
called the
because
apocalypse
it's just funny
precedent.
to me that we live in a world where there's so many hydrogen bombs.
Yeah,
So when America goes shut down the wet markets, should we also, and also, you know, since we're getting into we're getting into the politics of stopping apocalypses, we're also going to ban, yeah, all the bombs we have that could destroy the world 200 and 300 times over. There's
get
something,
rid of.
there's hypocrisy there, I guess.
Well, I guess like if you create a biohazard, it's it's not that great as a weapon, is it? Unless you make your country immune. to it before it spreads. You know, like if
Yeah,
America invented the coronavirus, it would be stupid because
yeah,
it's
yeah. Everyone's been affected by it. And the difference between, say, the nuclear weapons and like a virus at a market is the market is a cultural phenomenon where the virus is an accident and is creating the perfect conditions for it to be created, whereas a nuclear bomb is obviously under strict security control, codes, you know, heavily protected. Everything's designed to stop it from happening. But still,
well, the wet markets would be an analogy. Would be if you opened up a nuclear site for people to hang out in and just press buttons and sort of just have a field day there
yeah,
and see what happens.
guess at the
Because
code and stuff.
it's just people pressing buttons and they're enjoying it in the same way that I'm sure a wet market's enjoyable. Like you're walking through and you're like, oh, look, it's a penguin that's been strung upside down. Like, how'd they get that? Like, what's its origin story? You know?
One of the things I read about the wet markets is also they have a dog meat festival. And one of these Chinese people, expat, was saying that should be banned as well. A dog meat festival. Couldn't see that going down in a Western country. Very popular.
Yeah, no, it's
I reckon
yeah.
more people would protest a dog meat festival. If I held a dog meat festival and tried to organize it, I reckon more people would protest that more violently than if I held a white supremacist rally.
Yeah, because only like half the population would be against the white supremacist rally. Whereas like I think dog cruelty unifies people.
Even the racists hate dog cruelty.
Oh, there'd be like those Klansmen people just going like, "What are you doing? You know, like, that's wrong. I love my dog."
You wouldn't want to hold a white supremacist rally and part of the rally was a dog meat festival, was a dog meat exhibition.
No, yeah, it would be an outcry from everyone.
Oh fuck. Okay. So I've got a few things to get through, and they're sort of tied to the last thing as well. One is Ebola cases appear in Africa during coronavirus. Just about when the World Health Organization was declared it done, a new case appeared. It's a week or so ago.
When was Ebola invented? Like, has it been around for prehistoric? Like, has it been around for ages? Like,
It's a good question.
I thought it was like a prehistoric thing as well. Like, it's medieval.
Really?
Like people were getting it. I don't know. That's just my. I have no evidence for
But
that. But
isn't it tied to monkeys?
I think so. But
So that wouldn't have been a Western thing because we wouldn't have had monkeys.
I just wonder when the first Ebola outbreak ever occurred.
It's a good question.
But that was that's a better to get.
I'll see if I can find it.
I don't think you can get that from having lunch with someone who has it. Like you've got to really, unless you're sharing the same meal. Like it's not as contagious. I don't
Let's
have
see what
any
the
evidence.
Wikipedia says. There's 6 known Ebola virus. It started in the Congo, closely related to the Marburg virus. It was renamed Ebola in 2010 to avoid confusion. The natural reservoir of Ebola virus is believed to be bats, particularly fruit bats. From humans and from animals. There you go. I thought it was monkeys. It's bats.
So it's bat. Once again, it's the bat. And there's reason to be. I've hated bats for a few years. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. what were you saying about? What were you saying about one time you were terrified because you had a wound on your head? What's that story?
I ran into a tree branch and got like a mild concussion, and I kept walking, and a flock of bats. There was an activity of bat related stuff happening over my head, and I was paranoid that one of the bats would shit into the wound, and I would like have a new virus, like it would start a virus, or at least just kill me. I was
Sounds like
paranoid.
a tough day.
Yeah, it was difficult. Because I was like, it'll take a few days before the infection starts, like, you know, the incubation period.
It fascinates me how far your brain went, like that from the wound, like, oh, I've got a wound, to there are bats, to what if one shits on me? So that's a big leap. And then to a new virus that would come from the shit in the wound. That's a long...
It's a long bow, but as we're finding out, no bow can be too long. Like we're finding out that these bats are very, very viral, and like have just many, many viruses contained. Like they're a reservoir of many idiosyncratic viruses that can just be started. And like I thought my head was a petri dish for that bat shit. Like the shit would come in and like get all viral, and then I'd just die or something.
Now you're like, when you first told that story, everyone thought you were crazy. I
Yeah.
still do myself, but now you're like, no, that's good health and that's good thinking.
Yeah. I if I had the World Health Organization on, if I could contact them at the time, you know, whatever, I'd have a talk. But what a dirty creature, eh? To create like Ebola, rabies, corona, like SARS, like it's just the bat.
It's who would have thought? I didn't see that coming. Why, I wonder?
Well,
Why?
my question: if a bat has coronavirus, does it actually get sick, or is it just a virus that's part of its ecosystem?
It's a really good question. I have no idea.
You know what I mean? Like if there's a bat
Yeah,
just going, it's got corona, but it's like, I'm fine. I feel fine.
it's a
Like it
super
doesn't.
spreader.
Yeah, it's a super spreader. Like it's like a backpacker. It's like a backpacker going to a dinner party during a pandemic.
We have two articles about that. One is, I like your headline that you dug up, which is just super spreader. Can you bring that up and show that?
That's not about a backpacker. That's about another super spreader that they've found. And there he is. Super spreader. And then he's...
I just love that.
But I like how he's smiling. Like he's still having a good time.
Yeah, he's like, hello.
And he's wearing a suit. And the best thing is, that guy's not even the spreader, but it looks like he is.
It's funny.
You know when they've got a photo of the person and the headline, but it's not them?
It is funny. And it's also, it's funny that even if he isn't the super spreader, right? He's standing in front of a nursing home where I assume where it's gone, like people have died, and the headline's super spreader, and he's like, you know, he still should be somber, like even if he's not the guy.
But instead,
yeah,
he's enjoying himself as he spreads. That's him.
Oh, I love it.
What I love as well, it's like, it looks like he's been photoshopped into the nursing home to give it extra, like, what? What? Like, why are you there?
They like, love a bit of that. Is that the Daily Telegraph?
Yeah, that's Telegraph.
Yeah. They love. Can you, to move on to our next, talking about spreading stuff, next article. Can you read the one about backpackers? Because I find the whole backpackers, again, it's like a flip of the whole social justice thing. Like the backpacker immigrants are the focus now because of the
Oh,
virus.
my hobby now is just reading salacious tales of backpackers flouting protocols. Like, there's been so many articles. Just they'll have like a photo of 20 people crammed in like sardines, sharing like a bong. Like they're all like just sharing everything, like crammed into parties that you like. It's just articles of like, and then they've got like interviews with backpackers just going like, I feel really healthy, you know, I don't know why I have to obey this social distancing, like I'm really, like it'll be him like,
I think it's fascinating that the reaction of the public is like what people would get with immigrants, the traditional immigrants. Why are they? But it's
yeah,
white backpackers.
yeah, it's like Sven, like just going
Mm.
like, I have a really good immune system and I just wanted to like be with my friends for once. We're just trying to go and move around in a van. So they're just going around in vans to different parties.
A backpacker can't be isolated.
Yeah, having lived in a backpack,
How do you isolate a backpacker?
really, well, it's hard when 50 of them share the same kitchen. You know what I mean? And they've all been out spreading all day, and now they're spreading Vegemite, like spreading some shitty margarine on a piece of white bread.
Oh, the outrage. The outrage. I just love how this virus, for all the horror, has flipped everything on its head. Like the
Oh,
outrage of headlines like backpackers party during virus.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Backpackers spread virus through Bondi. And it's got all
yeah.
these dudes, like the photo I remember is like dudes like, woo, like it's just all these backpackers.
There's a guy just like screaming like, "Woo!" Like they're playing netball on a
There's
beach. They're trying to close.
a beer bong, like,
Oh, it's all being shared. And the other thing, and then the thing, they interviewed one of them, some guy, like some Julio dude, who was just like, I feel very healthy. Like it's just me and other young people. Like we don't need to practice. Like he's boasting about not needing to do it because his immune system is so powerful,
the
which is just
rage
the
people would have
rage,
felt about that.
because everyone else is like at home just going like, what are you doing? And they're just all like, woo.
It's the same rage a racist feels towards immigrants. It's exactly the same, but it's us sitting at home, middle class people going, fucking, how could you?
It's funny, like, to be a backpacker and then like have to quarantine. Like,
Yeah,
it's like,
because you're in the hotbed of filth and you're in this backpackers. Like the coronavirus could have come from the shower floor. I've seen
yeah,
some shit on some backpackers' feet that could be described as could be the beginning of any, you know. We don't know whether the next thing comes from tinea. It gets airborne and creates like a viral fungal.
a fungal sort of respiratory,
Yeah.
like a fungus that is like in the air now. And
Yeah.
you can get backpackers from going to the Pink Flamingo, checking in. And it's just, it's weird to be sharing a bunk bed with 20 other people as well during this. Like,
You can't isolate a backpacker. Where's he going to go?
when,
They're trying to keep their space in the dorm room.
well, the whole thing is they're like, we're going to cram you in like a sardine for $12 a night. That's the whole deal.
That's the deal. And if that means a pandemic and everyone in the place gets it, that's...
Well, as they say, their immune systems are so powerful that
Backpackers.
they don't know they have it. So
Backpackers is like a human wet market.
yeah, it's like if
A dorm, a backpacker dorm.
yeah, it's like if a bat could form a conga line with other bats,
Oh, fuck.
and they're having like poke bowls and stuff. Just like, yeah, I don't understand what is happening. We're just trying to have a party. I have incredible immune system.
Yeah, none of them read the news either. So they're like, what's going on? What's this corona? Yeah, it's crazy. We had a punch party last night. Everyone had the same punch bowl. We don't know. Is there something happening?
I heard it only affects like war veterans and like Anzacs and not actual people. Is it true or I don't know? We're not going to cancel the beach volleyball tournament. We're going ahead. Like they're really rude.
Yeah, that I loved that so much. Oh.
I feel like Muslims have come out really well because the burqa is a mask. It's a makeshift mask that people were having a go at. Now it's like, thank you. And the alienation of Muslims in Australia is social distancing.
Right. It's again flipped on its head. Is that they're wearing clothing that's sort of, I guess people go, oh well, racists might be like, oh yeah, well it's a bit of a mask.
Yeah,
and they're isolated and alienated, whereas before they were like, take it off
and come over.
They come over, they wear something different, and they're stuck in their area. Now they're like, thank God they're wearing something different. They're stuck in their area. Like Pauline Hanson, the next thing she's going to do is go to the Parliament House. She went into the Parliament House in a burqa to make a statement, which was highly ridiculed and borderline just excellent comedy. Yeah. Now she'll come in as a backpacker.
She'll come in with a point.
They're coming over here. They're dressing different. She'll have the Hawaiian board shorts and the singlet with thongs, being like, I just got let right in here. I've got tinea. I could be super spreading.
I've got tinea. I could be super spreading. It's not 100%. It's not been ascertained, but it could be. I've been around.
You're letting me around. She's just trying to cling to the most popular thing to hate.
I went on a pub crawl with a bunch of people I've never met, and now we're getting to know each other. They're from different countries.
That's one of the negatives for Pauline Hanson if she had to become a backpacker.
Yeah.
Even pretending, entertaining the idea of being foreign, and we partied. We got to know other ethnic minorities and people from different cultures and countries. It was a nightmare.
As I said, it was it was French people, Spanish, English people. We were spreading around town. Yeah. That'd be hilarious. She's got like the little shark tooth necklace and everything. Like
shark tooth. Oh, it's perfect.
And it's funny to have a backpacker just be like, how do you say I was spreading, how do you say when the corona, I bring it with the beach? Like it's all broken.
Oh, yeah.
What is quarantine you speak of? Like it's just crazy.
It just adds to it, doesn't it? The broken Englishness of it.
Yeah.
When it comes to talking about something like a virus, we kissed, all of us last night, partied, lots of fun. Now we're spreading everywhere we go. It's different. Is there a virus now to me or?
Yeah. It's like, how you say cluster? A cluster of cases? What is this? Respiratory. Hey.
Oh fuck. Okay, so I feel like we've covered a lot. Like I think there's a couple of headlines I've got left here. Trump cuts funding to the World Health Organization, and that's tied to everything we've been talking about, like their support of the wet markets and their support of China and their lack of foresight, their lack of like alerting America is his claim and stuff. But I don't know. I think the one I want to end on is the NRL. It's a beautiful. Some of our best headlines come from the Daily Telegraph. Daily Telegraph. There's a big, for those of you probably aren't even reading this particular news, but it's headline news, isn't it? It's really quite prominent. Which is when should the NRL come back? And the
It
Daily
often rhymes
Telegraph
well.
had NRL to be back, should be back in 7 weeks, like it's pushing.
They basically just put what the NRL says as their thing, like coming back. We're coming back.
Yeah,
Boys.
yeah, direct from the NRLs.
Yeah, it's not like they just report it as if it's happening. Like, yep, nothing wrong with that. Getting back on there, back in business.
I love the idea of the Daily Telegraph pushing for NRL to come back sooner. I love the
Yeah,
NRL. I wanted to come back, but it's just funny for me that the Daily Telegraph takes the when are we going to get the fucking footy back?
well, it's the NRL is above the law
In
pretty much.
Australia, yeah.
Well, just it's almost like a super legal thing. Like it's above the law. Like it's like even the police commissioner was like, "Yeah, I'd like to see it as much as the next man. I mean, they're good people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they would get along with the police and stuff. I'm sure because they've got that same like, come on, we're just trying to get it going." And
Yeah, it sort of slips through the radar, doesn't it? The NRL as outrage goes. There's a lot of outrage about what people are doing and where they should be, but the NRL's a bit like, come on, we can have a
yeah,
fucking game of footy, can't we?
yeah, come on,
Come on.
yeah,
That's all it
yeah,
is. Come on.
come
Like
on, we're
the
getting
Prime Minister's like, we think that regulators won't lift the social distancing ban for sport to go ahead. And the NRL
yeah,
like, come on.
come on.
That's it.
That was the thing that come on.
Come on.
Yeah, it's disappointed. Come
Yeah. Come on.
on. We just want to risk a second wave of infections for a game. And yeah, the other thing was one of the things in the title was it's just the tonic we need.
Oh, right. Like
It'll
times
help
are
us.
tough.
Yeah, it'll help us. But it actually might be the tonic we need and also spark a second wave of an epidemic, but also help us deal with it.
I see. The psychological lift of the nation when NRL comes back on.
So we get a psychological lift and then another cluster of infections that keep going for another year. But that's the trade-off that you need, so you can just enjoy it.
Do you think there does need to actually be a trade-off of sorts at the moment to lift moods in Australia, or you just...
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because it's like, why would
There's
you
already
just have...
Netflix and shit. There's so much, isn't there?
Yeah, like why would you have just one segment of society and then just let them have different rules?
Yeah.
Like imagine if they were doing that for the symphony orchestra. They're like, come on, we're getting the symphony orchestra back.
I think that's such a great example.
Come on, we're going to get, and they're just all like a violinist, all close to each other, like
Yeah.
the conductor and shit.
Yeah, let them come back.
The arts.
It's part of our culture.
It's a tonic. It's just the tonic we need. Phantom of the Opera. We sold it out.
I love that. I love the Phantom of the Opera.
Imagine if if the Daily Telegraph was just like Phantom of the Opera, just the tonic we need. Aussie actors and Aussie musicians giving it a go. Like they never would.
Bring back the theatre and the opera. Enough's enough.
Bring back the improv troupe, the Ministry of Silly Buggers. Let them back.
Bring back the improv troupe, Mixed Nuts. We need a lift in the mood.
It's just the tonic we need.
Well, they were talking about taking the NRL to a remote island. So they could be like quarantined as an entire sporting competition.
That's interesting because I remember that was your idea as well.
Let them play off on an island.
You were saying about airdropping NRL players into another location.
It's a great idea.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you could quarantine them for the rest of their lives on the island.
NRL Island.
Yeah, a TV show. Like it's just them.
So you could watch them, how they live and also play. They gradually go mad, wouldn't they? Even more so.
Yeah. Oh. That's a good idea. I like the island thing. Is that
NRL Island.
NRL Island? Yeah.
I love it. I think it's a great note to end on that. A positive, an optimistic vision. NRL Island. Thanks for we'll do this again next week.
Yeah,
and we'll dig up more headlines and stuff. I'll I'll put it up on YouTube and on where the podcast goes for audio. I don't know why it took so long to think about that. Thanks for listening, guys. It's weird because I'm just talking to you, but other people are watching this.
It's hard to make eye contact as well.
It is.
Like,
so we're saying goodbye to people that might be watching this and listening to this. So thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with more news. Bye.
Goodbye.